Welcome back to Jabbermouths. Hope you're ready for a science double feature as we're watching The Core.
What are we watching after The Core?
We're going to watch The Black Hole after The
that's
Core.
right.
Black hole. We need
Yeah.
to introduce ourselves. I'm your shipmaster, JD.
I'm your... Come back to me, pass.
God, I had one lined up. I'm your nuclear physicist, Ethan? I don't know.
/ concubine, Ethan.
Wait.
and I'm Token Diversity Barrett.
Oh, I was trying to figure out how to fit token black character, but token Jewish character, Ethan?
You could have said, I'm diversity hire engineer, Ethan.
But if you do, you have to go this is 2003. So if you are the token Jewish character, you gotta sell it.
You gotta have
Because
you gotta be orthodox and have the
Every
sideburns
time
and the
they
hat.
every time like the mission is successful, Mazel Tov. Offer everyone a
Yeah.
bagel.
Your suit to survive like terrible
it's
temperatures.
blue and
It's
white.
blue and white, and it has to have the hat worked into the
Metallic hat.
suit.
It's got the yarmulke on it.
Metallic yarmulke. So we watched The Core from 2003.
Yes.
This is a movie I watched in middle school in science class. Why? I don't know.
Yeah, well, he wanted to show it to us. By the way, you can see this on Amazon Prime for free, or you can rent it. But don't
spend money
Don't pay
on
money
this.
for this. If you ever
Well-
want to just like make fun of a movie that thought it took itself seriously and really shouldn't have, this is a movie for you.
The money
then
you will-
it's worth it.
The money you will spend to rent it is more than their visual effects budget was.
It really was.
Well, we should say though, if you're gonna watch it fast, because it does disappear from Prime at the end of the year.
Oh, it
On
does.
December 31st, yeah.
Oh,
so
when
you'll
it
have to-
popped up. So
If you don't see it by the end of the year,
Just
see it
don't.
at all. Wait, this episode's gonna come out like a week, less than a week before the end of the year.
So anyway, we're watching the film The Core. Don't buy it. Just listen to us.
Yeah, just listen to our podcast because that's free and that's a lot better than this movie.
I mean, unless you want to give us money. Like, I mean, I'm not like
Who-
asking for it, but like, if you wanna.
Barrett, let's be real for a second. A, we have nowhere near enough subscribers to monetize our YouTube channel. B, we don't subscribe or we don't monetize our podcast. And C, we don't have a Patreon. So like, where are we getting that money from?
I don't know. I guess if your girlfriend occasionally just walks by, just puts $5 on the table and goes, "Keep it up, boys," and then she walks out.
It's enough. It's
That's
enough
the
that we
last
go.
hear of her for 3 weeks or whatever.
It's enough that we go back and forth paying for meals. Okay.
Right. Shout out to my one coworker who says she listens to the podcast now. Shout out to you.
I don't want to say her name or dox her because I don't know it. But thank you for listening.
And thank you to all of my coworkers who, whenever I mentioned I have a podcast, they immediately stopped the conversation and we just pretend it didn't happen.
I mean, you can hate on them all you want. They're not gonna hear it.
Oh, I don't hate on them. I feel good. We're not friends.
The way I introduce it all the time is I am now that token friend who has a podcast. Let me explain it to you. And they go, "Oh, I have a podcast too." And I'm like, "Okay, let's do this."
I just have yet to. My job involves sitting in a truck with a 58-year-old man for 9 hours a day. He didn't give a shit about this podcast.
Well, this movie features like 6 55-year-old men who
No,
are
only one of them is old.
Great. So let's lay down the brass ass. Get this. The Earth stops. Oh my god, how are we going to fix this? We're going to build a giant machine that looks like a vape and then drop it into the Earth and then put off a bunch of nuclear bombs to restart the core of the Earth to spin it. And that's the gist of it, I would say. I think I did a good job.
Yeah. Well, it's the core that stops spinning, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not. Does the core? What?
No, it's just the core stops spinning.
But the Earth itself doesn't. Like the
Yeah.
the outer. Okay.
And
the idea-
the core stops spinning, which causes the EM field, the electromagnetic field around the Earth, to slowly decay.
Right, which blocks out the solar winds.
And basically everything that would hurt us.
Exactly. So it's like, hey, so basically they come to the conclusion that they got like 3 months before all of their electric power in the world is going to go out, and
Right.
about a year before the field just totally fails and
And
solar winds come through and just destroy the whole planet.
And everyone gets torched like a peach on a stick.
Yeah,
which is a scene in this movie.
right. And the main character, Aaron Eckhart, formerly known as I, Frankenstein, formerly known as Battle Los Angeles,
Formerly known as Harvey Dent.
is the college professor who figures it out before everyone else, right?
Right.
And for that reason gets to be on the horrible
horrifying
ship that has to, get to the core and figure it out.
The Earth restart dildo.
It's a vape.
It does look like a vape.
A vape or a dildo. You pick your, whatever you're feeling when you look at it.
Well, every time I look at it, I think fucking 2006 Microsoft screensaver because it all looks so bad. We didn't look this up. I want to know. What was the
budget?
Yeah, what's the budget for this movie? Because it wasn't enough. Because you guys were telling... I thought this was just like a C-list... Before we started watching it, I thought this was going to be like a C-list sci-fi channel movie. And the CGI quality reflects that.
See,
it does.
I Googled it before we started. Watching I Googled it a few days ago.
Well, you guys said it was supposed to be a blockbuster back in 2003.
Some blockbuster.
And that wasn't it. Oh, my lordy. All right, guys. Let's take a poll. What do you...
$170
$300 million.
Holy shit, Ethan. It was $115 million.
I saw it.
Oh, okay. Whatever. Why did you just say it? $115 million. How much of that went to Eckert's fucking chin dimple? I want to know. I'm going to talk about his chin dimple too many times.
Okay.
Just so we're clear, I actually really like Aaron Eckhart in like almost everything he does. I don't know, I just really like his acting. Because he does a good job. He acts well in this movie. He's great Two-Face. He's great...
Frankenstein.
Let's not talk about I, Frankenstein. But the point is, he's a fine actor. But I just make fun of the chin dimple because that's his like defining characteristic. Yeah.
So, the main plot got to restart the Earth, and they do this by lasering their way through the planet.
Yeah, they have some dude out in the middle of nowhere who's basically figured out laser guns.
Yeah.
And they're going to use that technology to bore to the center of the Earth, essentially. So they don't even use the standardized drill system because that wouldn't work because of the
pressure.
Pressure and temperature, right? Like the drill would melt because the center. They say the core of the Earth is 9,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah?
I think it's 900,000 degrees.
Well, that's not what I'm not saying scientifically speaking what it actually is. It sounds like that's how they treat it. Because they kept saying 9,000 degrees. It's 9,000 degrees out there when they eventually make it to the core of the Earth. And a side note, you know how they do something that's really stupid to me, in that and a lot of movies do this the right way, right? They create a situation that's going to take a lot of time, which allows characters to develop and for us to care about them, right? In this situation, the thing that's supposed to do that is it takes about 15 minutes to get through the first layer of the Earth, and then it takes like a day to get through the next layer, and then like another 15 hours to get through the layer before the inner core. They just say 15 hours later, 20 hours later. They never, like, why would you even set that up? Like, they just cut it with a little, like, with a little stamp at the bottom that tells you how long it's been.
The first jump is from, basically, they go through the Mariana Trench to the mantle.
Is it Mariana or Marianas?
I always call it the Mariana Trench.
I don't know. Big trench boy. Anyway.
Big trench boy.
Like, they go through...
Wait, hold on. What do you call the Great Canyon then? It's like, big old canyon guy. Just...
It's his brother, Large Canyon Man.
Well, no.
I didn't mean to derail your comment. Please
Mount Everest, more like Mount Chonkula.
That's the dad. That's Daddy Chonkers.
Daddy Mount Chonkers.
That's Mount Daddy Chonkers.
And what's the Dead Sea then?
That's Mom.
It's Mom.
Dead ass Mommy C.
Alrighty.
With her big Dead Sea milkers.
This got a little out of hand.
So did the core.
We're not even 10 minutes in and it's
so
getting out of hand.
They go through the trench, and then they enter the crust, and then it just cuts to them leaving the crust.
Yeah.
There's no, like,
oh god,
really shitty underscore, like...
No, they're spending all this time together, and they've spent like 3 months together getting ready for this mission, and there is like almost no scenes of them actually interacting with each other in a way that shows their growth with one another. It's
their
almost
growth-
non-existent.
Their growth with one another is not wanting to scream and yell at each other anymore because they're all going to die if they do. But then they continue to scream and yell at each other throughout the whole movie.
Exactly, which is especially Tucci's character, right?
Yeah.
Zakar?
Zamsky?
Yeah, Dr. Conrad Zimsky?
Zimsky. Simsky.
Yes, it's
He's
Zimsky.
such a simp.
Such a Simpsky.
He's a simp for himself.
Yeah, his own, I was going to say his own
He's
ego.
a self
Would
simp.
you call that? That's like a treat yourself day. I'm a simp for myself. Like,
Today,
I'm
ladies.
gonna treat myself.
Today, ladies, I think I'm going to simp for myself.
welcome back to my channel. Here's what we're gonna do, ladies. We're gonna simp for yourself
Because you are important.
because you earned it. I mean, I did. I'm
Yeah.
allowed to simp for myself. I simp for myself all the time.
Yeah, I love
You're a
to
simp.
go to go back
Eric's
to
a simp. Learn
We're
it-
all
learn it here
simps.
first.
for something. We all simp for something.
I do
I'm just
not
not gonna
simp
say what
for
it
the
is.
core.
No, no one does.
Why would any?
Right. Well, Stanley Tucci's character, it sucks because he's such a good actor and he's so much fun in like everything he does. And part of that is because he can be very animated and very subdued in like the same movie a lot of the time. Like you
Or
get a
in the
lot
same
of
scene.
right. You get a lot of range from him. He's just so good, and they use it in like every possible negative way in this movie because his character is such a piece of fucking garbage with like no redeemable qualities. And he dies without having a lot of redeemable qualities.
I don't know.
He passes. Okay, well, let me like give a gist of this character to the to people who might listen to this, and then we'll go back and forth on it. I'm happy to do that. He's this like renowned geologist, geophysicist.
Yeah.
I think is what
Like
they call
the
him.
White House loves him, and he goes there all the time.
He wears a
and
cape. He always has a turtleneck.
Yeah, and there's always people taking pictures of him, and he's very
'Cause
egotistical.
The world simps for geophysicists.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly. And he's egotistical like up until like 20 minutes before he dies. He's egotistical and he's a piece of shit to everyone around him. Like they have to knock him out on the ship in like the
Easiest
very
knockout.
stereotype way. Yeah, he takes like half of a punch and passes out. And he's just mean. He's mean to everybody. He goes against everything they want to do. He inadvertently kind of caused the whole situation with his own like side project called Destiny. And he just doesn't. I don't know. He's just a total piece of shit. And
Well-
and I don't know what is redeemable about him other than
He
his foot
saved
got
himself.
crushed, and so he told the guy whose foot wasn't crushed because there was no time to
His
go
shoulder
get out.
got crushed first.
Exactly. He told Eckert to get out
Yeah.
of the room that was going to close in on them. That's not redeemable to me. You were going to die anyway. Why is that? I don't know. And that whole sequence is awful. We'll get to that when we
I don't
talk
know. I
about
think
that
that's.
part.
I
But-
argue that is in that moment of just like, no, okay, like, well, I can't, screw this mission up with my ego. You get out of here. You finish the mission. I feel like there is some redemption in that.
I don't think so.
And then even
to be
laughing
honest.
at himself, his final moment where he's like, because he always kept like doing like the log thing where he kept like talking into a recorder, like making his
Yeah,
own notes.
yeah.
And then finally at the end, he actually laughs at himself. Like that's where his final moment was like, what? He even says, "What the fuck am I even talking about?" And he just laughs. And you know what? I felt that was growth. I felt like that was some kind of redemption.
I'm saying, and
I
I'm,
don't
I'm
think it's enough.
well, I agree with that, but there's an important diversion here, right? And that's the difference between growth and redemption. I think he grows as a character significantly in those final moments. I don't think it's redeemed though. Like I think he's still a piece of
piece
shit.
of shit.
He's just now a self-aware piece of shit in his final moments. You know what I mean? Like he goes, "Yeah, I'm kind of fucking stupid," and then he dies, right? And at least that was how I interpreted it, and I was like, "You're kind of fun. I don't like you," and I didn't get a reason to really like you, but like I don't know. To Ethan's respect there, we get that little bit there at the end, but it's not enough. We get it for 5 seconds. We actually get it for 5 seconds because the nuke in the same room as him is counting down, and it's at 5 seconds, and it blows up and he dies.
Yeah.
You know, like it feels like a waste of talent to me. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then at the same time, we can't have everyone on board being yes men.
No, I didn't want him to be
No.
a yes man.
Because that's
I'm
the
just
problem
saying,
with, I guess, in one of in these kinds of films, because I don't really like disaster films, it's always, man versus nature, man versus a very large concept that doesn't really have a face. In all of them, there is always an antagonist among the crew.
No, I
There's
agree
always
with
the
that.
naysayer, there's always the one that has to say, like, hey, because otherwise it's just boring.
No, I completely agree with what you're saying. What I'm getting at is, and this goes back to like the original point, is they built the script to have all these extra hours to grow these characters and turn a new leaf, right? Or understand each other a little better. And they take that opportunity to skip all of it and not do it at all. It's a 2-hour movie, and they could have done it, and they just didn't. Right? Instead, we get stuck in a gem cave randomly. Or we almost hit diamonds. Right? Like, all of that could have been character development.
But we have to kill off more than half of our main cast.
Which is fine. You can build a character up and still do that.
Well, what would you cut then?
What would I cut? All of the shit I just talked about. The gem cave stuff, other than like
Okay,
cut that
how
shit.
do you kill Captain Pike?
There's a million ways to kill people in this scenario. So many ways. And a lot of it's fine. Other than like the nuke landing on the guy's leg.
It rolling from
It
one
rolls
side to
onto
the
his
other.
leg and then they
Yeah.
can't move it except until they can't. It moves itself basically
It
because
rolls,
of just the
yeah.
movement of the whatever. That part kind of pissed me off because it was light enough to roll on its own based on like, and it was on like a 20% or a 20 degrees shift in the ship. That was irritating. Because you could tell that it was way lighter than it was supposed to be.
Well, yeah, they're like, push, and they're like, I'm pushing.
And they can't move it. 20-degree tilt
Right.
rolls on its own. But yeah, it just seems like they wasted the time. Like they didn't, there was a lot of moments where they could have been. This seemed like a movie where they did their best to isolate these characters so that we could be with the characters and let them grow and really be invested in them. And then they didn't do that at all.
I just know I immediately picked out right at the beginning of just like, hey, the pilot's making eyes at the college professor. I think they're going to be the only two to live.
Who would have guessed?
Who would have guessed? Back in the day, when you fall in love, you automatically live.
You get the plot armor.
I mean, that's why do you think I'm on so many
Unobtainium.
dating apps, Because I know I got to get that plot armor. I know it's just some point, hey, this car accident won't kill me as long as I'm in love.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And then the other people, oh no, they were all dead. Well, clearly they weren't in love. They were a very loving and kind family. Well, they weren't as in love as I am. So that's why they're dead.
Right.
Obviously.
Right. Well, thousands of people still die.
Oh,
Which is-
it's like hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
Because
They-
Rome
Fuck you,
dies.
San Francisco.
Rome dies, then
Rome
San
dies,
Francisco dies.
San Francisco blows up because all the bad stuff starts happening. They're able to ultimately stop it, but all the bad stuff does still begin to happen.
Well, and then there's a massive earthquake at the end of the movie. And like New York, not prepared for earthquakes. London,
Right.
not prepared for earthquakes.
And they're like, the earth is healing itself. I'm like, this is bad.
Well, it shakes the whole earth, yeah. And we
Yeah.
were all sitting here like
9.2
this
magnitude earthquake.
Yeah, across the entire planet.
Oh,
That does not sound like a recipe for success. I
No.
mean, I guess it's still saving the world by and large, but
It's
So many
population
people died.
control.
oh wow.
Hey, it kills indiscriminately.
it's true.
The core of the earth is Thanos. Prove me wrong.
I'll prove you wrong. I think less than half the population died.
So?
So it ain't Thanos enough. They needed to go out with the firing squads
the whole
and finish
thing.
the job. Oh, terrible.
That's what
people.
Destiny's for.
Yeah. I liked Surge. I'm sad that Surge died as soon as he did.
I didn't really feel like he got enough. I feel like he was like, I'm, the drunk who's also a family man. Okay,
Yeah,
bye.
he was-
drunk, though.
No, he just gets drunk with
Once.
with
And then
Aaron
immediately
Eckhart's
is
character.
undrunk.
Because he's like his best friend, right?
Yeah.
Or not best friend, but they're like close friends and colleagues because they work in similar fields. His is more like weaponized physicists sort of stuff.
I think the
I'm looking through the
weapons
cast
dude
right
is like a nuclear physicist.
I was gonna say the actor's name, but
I
I'm
can't
not gonna
pronounce
try
that.
that.
I can't even.
It's looks like it's of Russian area, maybe Armenian
Verge?
or it's like
Yep, nope. I was like, yeah, maybe I can do it. Nope.
Nope.
Not happening.
sounding it out phonetically in English, it's like Tcheki Cario, but I don't want to.
Cairo?
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 It's Carillo, something like that. I don't know.
And
it's got the
for
Cheka over
Cario.
the E, and I don't know how that works in that
For
language.
the
Also, his name is Surge, but if it was pronounced like the way that
Sergei?
his It'd be Sergey. His name would
Yeah,
totally
true.
be Sergey.
Surge!
But you know, the
Surge!
token disaster movie, we don't get a shot of the pyramids.
That's true.
Does Armageddon have a... Armageddon's the only other disaster... That's not true. I can think of 2 other disaster movies, period, that I even, like, keep in my memory somewhere, and that's Armageddon and Volcano. Those are the only 2 I ever think of when I think of disaster movies.
Let's see, I think of...
So, and I don't...
2012.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
2012.
you know what? 2012 too. 2012
Well,
too.
San Andreas, if I turn
And the fuck me, The Day After Tomorrow.
I'm pretty sure
I
if
think
I
of that
turn
one
the
too.
fire stick back on,
It'll show us like
Greenland.
movies like this.
Greenland.
Yeah.
no. Yeah, they're all 2012, Deep Impact.
I don't know why Sahara's
Why is
there.
Sahara there?
Is not apocalyptic.
It's because customers also watched. It's because you like bad movies, is what they thought when they saw the core. They were like, oh, you like Sahara.
Hold on a second.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, don't shit here and try to. That's like me trying to defend Armageddon.
I'm a Battleship the movie.
That is the perfect log line though.
What for the core? Hey, it's
Yeah.
Armageddon, but not in space.
No, just Armageddon's log line on
A
Amazon
large
Prime.
asteroid is heading directly toward Earth.
That's
period.
all you need to know. Besides, hey, I
That's
want to
true.
fuck your daughter.
I want to
for
fuck your
Armageddon?
daughter, and also instead
Okay.
of we have to teach.
Oh, go back. Have you guys seen that?
What, small shoulder?
I
Small
see small
soldiers.
soldiers,
Have you
of
seen
course.
No.
We need to put this on the list. Because, oh my god, I love that movie. Anyway, sorry. That was
I
a
don't.
tangent. We're done.
I see. I watched it was on so many Saturday nights on Cartoon Network, and I'm just afraid it doesn't hold up.
I want to find out.
We'll do it together. You can't tell, audience, but we're holding hands as I said that.
I'm touching
They're
his
actually
titties.
they're touching. I was gonna say they're touching dicks, but okay.
Well, that's what we do
It's called a dock of trust.
Yeah, it's a ritual we do before every podcast. Ethan refuses to join in.
Refuse to take part, and it's just really kills the vibe.
Right there, though. See, this is the movie that I feel like all other disaster movies should be held by a standard to.
Day of Tomorrow.
The Day After Tomorrow. Because you know why? Because it focuses on the fucking development of the characters. And it uses that as, like, it creates, like, the catastrophe and everything is based, it's not, the crux of it isn't just the catastrophe. It's how these people survive the catastrophe
If I may-
and how they change, right? And how how they get through it, right? And the connections and how they sever or how new connections are made, right? It's better for that reason. That's why I use it as that, like, this is the disaster movie you compare other disaster movies to.
If I may.
He has directed a ton of stuff.
Well, I guess the one thing I wanted to... Well, I guess if we want to talk about disaster movies, we got to bring up the OG, the original Twister from the 70s.
How did you feel about Twister? I don't like Twister that much. I'm
I
not
didn't
gonna lie.
watch it. I
You've
watched
never
a lot.
seen Twister?
I watched.
Neither
It's
have
interesting.
I.
So because I've
Wait,
watched so many.
time out. You're bringing up Twister? You haven't seen Twister?
Well, let me explain why. Because I've watched so many. I've watched so many theme park documentaries, and so one of them brought up a lot with the Universal Studios that there was Twister the ride when it first opened, and I learned about the complete history of Twister the ride, and then they also in the video have to explain the plot of Twister. You see.
Okay. It's still... What I'm saying is this movie does not hold up when compared to what a
Anything
good
else?
disaster... Well, what a good disaster movie can be. You know what I mean? And I think The Day After Tomorrow came out after the
It did
core.
a year later.
It was a year later.
Yeah.
It got that much
Yeah.
better in a year.
Yeah, it was a year.
Well, I feel like they set the tempo for what a good... Or one of. I think Twister did as well. They set the formula, right, for what a good disaster movie is. And in my opinion, a good disaster movie is the bad thing... It's there to draw people in. But it takes
Yeah.
a backseat to the characters, right? And how they... react and grow and change. And that's what's interesting, right? It's people in that situation, people who are relatable and how that shapes them. And that's what The Day After Tomorrow does well. The core doesn't do that. And the issue isn't that there aren't interesting characters in the movie, because all of those characters have an interesting story to me. Like, a lot of them do, right? Like Surge and even Stanley Tucci's character, can have redemption, and Aaron Eckhart's character, they all come from such different backgrounds and can be cool. They just don't do anything with them.
No, it's
They just fucking jump cut all the time.
I think it was also because for them it was just more of, hey, we want to make a blockbuster. We want to get your butts in seats, Go watch
see
this
the-
big thing. Oh,
the
in your face.
spectacle of shitty After Effects.
CGI.
Well, you want to see what
mean,
that
it's
does
actually-
more often than not? Let's see what the box office was.
You know what I will say? Another thing I really hate.
They didn't make their money back.
No, that I
Early
knew,
2000s fonts. Look at all these. Look
Yeah.
at all these. Some of All Fears. You rock. That's great. Day After Tomorrow. Ew. Dante's Peak. Ew.
I can live with that.
Collision Earth. Like, it's just like the font where it's like, ew.
Armageddon's is almost identical to the Core's credit sequence. So on the side note of disaster movies, though, y'all want to know a fun fact about The Day After Tomorrow? What are their names? Trey Parker and Matt Stone are the creators of South Park. Stay with me here, and they had been just come off a ton of fame by 2003, 2002. They'd been doing South Park for a while by that point, so they were super famous and everything. I don't know exactly how, but they somehow, and I think has told us this story, our old professor from college, they somehow got their hands on the script for The Day After Tomorrow before it started shooting, and they had planned to make a shot-for-shot identical film
I remember this, yeah.
to The Day After Tomorrow to release on the same day as The Day After Tomorrow, except it was all puppets. And they were going to release it on the same day just because they thought it was such a dumb script that if they did it with puppets, it would turn into a comedy. But did the exact same film. Their lawyers quickly shot that down.
Damn.
They were going to get sued so hard.
I
well,
want
you know
that
what
way
came...
more than the Jack Snyder.
Well, you know what came from it instead then? Because they still really wanted to make a puppet movie? Team America World Police. Which one of our professors in college actually was the assistant director on. So we got to learn a bunch of awesome background stuff about that.
God,
Like,
I've seen that movie so many damn times. I remember like when they put it on Netflix, then like I remember as a teenager, just like maybe every other day or whatever, hanging out with friends. Hey, what should we watch? I'll just put on Team America in the background.
I don't know. I have a lot of fun with that movie.
I know it's just it became so common. It's like, yeah, we'll just turn on Team America again. Why not?
Yeah, my favorite thing our professor told me about that movie and the background of it was the people they hired to work the puppets. And they were so good craftsmen. They could, like, the fight scenes, they could choreograph with the puppets amazingly and make them do all sorts of crazy moves and stuff. And they showed us this for, like, an hour, all the different, like, fighting stances and, like, kung fu martial arts they can make these puppets do. And then I looked at Trey Parker and Matt Stone, and they looked at me, and we looked at them and went, can you just smash them together for us just one time? Just hit them together. Don't do anything special. Just hit them into each other. And they did that. And we went, that's it. That's what we want for all the fight scenes. And they were so mad.
God.
Because they were capable of such cool stuff. But they were like, nah, just fucking beat them together whenever there's a fight scene.
I think that's a good metaphor for the core.
Just beat them together
Just
whenever
bang them
there's an
together.
important scene.
Here's what I will say. Maybe why it's, I would say below Armageddon is
You would
because-
put this below Armageddon?
Because
car?
Armageddon
Yes.
is just stupid enough to work. There's this stupid fun
Can I
to
see-
it versus the core there is not. And you know what? I guess maybe they would have gotten it if they had more motivation versus like
Especially what year. Fucking Armageddon came out in 1998? Mm-hmm. Dude, it's special. Maybe I'm remembering it incorrectly, but its special effects
are
were way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, its space is way easier, but...
Well, what about the asteroids and shit? Like, that looked better.
No, it's just rocks, not the...
Well, the asteroid looked better.
The inner core of the Earth.
Right, but, like, the ship looked better. I don't know. From what I remember, the CGI was vastly superior. And it could have been them just hiding things because it was easier to do space than it was to do whatever, all the BS that they did in this movie. But
I don't know. It's just that's how I guess that's my response to the core with Armageddon is it's just stupid enough to work, and it does. Versus the chorus, they tried to do the same formula, but it didn't.
Yeah.
They fell on their face. Or maybe, maybe it would have been more motivational if it's just like, hey, just like the Armageddon's like, hey, if you get this right, you can marry and bang my daughter. Because, that was kind of the driving force for Ben Affleck in Armageddon. Like,
he needed to prove himself by getting on this mission to space.
Do you think the core would be better if everybody died? Not like everybody.
Like if all of the team that went down. Oh yeah.
And then the rat character was the only
leaks
one.
it because of that. I think that would have been a lot more interesting. That would have been
Give us a Rogue One situation.
Yeah, because then I wouldn't have sat here in the moments where it feels like they're gonna die, and
Being like, nah,
and also that happens way too many times. By the way, this movie, like the last 25, 30 minutes don't need to happen, because first the last two main characters being the male lead and the female lead who fuck. It implies that they will.
They're gonna.
It implies they're gonna fuck.
There is no romance in this movie.
That's true.
Well,
it's very flat.
Well,
all they do is argue and look at each other.
Yeah, but in 2000s world, that's all you need.
Back, open the door, back. He yells back a lot. Her name is Beck.
We're gonna talk about something with that. I'll come back to that tangent, because there was another part that really pissed me off. But what I'm saying is it's too long because they think they're gonna die in the core, right? When they run out of power, and then they figure out how to power it, and they get to the bottom of the ocean, and then they think they're gonna die again because there's no one to help them there, and they run out of power again. Mm-hmm. And then they figure out how to get the whales to help them, and then the rat figures out that the whales are circling them because they know where they are.
The rat is a character, not an actual.
I like to imagine it was a giant. Just imagine people imagine like the rat's just like it's just a giant anthropomorphic rat, or it's just the Remy from Ratatouille.
See, what happened was they still had the suit for Master Splinter from the 1991 hit film Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they needed to use it, otherwise they were going to lose it, right? Just like copyright rules, right? They were going to lose it if they didn't use it. And so they went and they, put Master Splinter in the movie. None of the other turtles, but just Master Splinter. And it's funny enough because they
then they pull them out of the ocean, and he goes, "Ha, I did another funny."
And they had DJ Qualis play the play the rat, and you don't know who that is, but he's got a very high pitched voice. So imagine Master Splinter with an Asian accent, but it's just way higher pitched than normal.
Oh god!
And there you go. None of that's real, except DJ Qualis. DJ Qualis did play that character. Did you know? You know who that was, because he was in like Supernatural and stuff like that.
I knew of him. I should put it that way.
You recognized him, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. He's done a bunch of tiny roles.
Yep.
He's great, I think. But I went so far into that bit that I don't even remember what we were talking about.
We were talking about the core from 2003.
Thanks. I'm aware of that.
Yeah, I think.
I remember. If you had to say something first, you're more than welcome to. I talked way too long. You do that, and I'll keep this in my head that I was going to talk about.
Well, fuck. You saying that made me forget what I was going to say.
Or do you want me to go then?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say there's a part where Surge dies. The part where he loses his life.
Oh, it's so bad.
It's rough. Because he gets... Basically what happens is there's a compartment of the ship that they need to disengage and take off.
No, his death is the diamonds.
Well, he gets crushed.
Well, yeah, because they're in the mantle and they find diamonds. And so, like, she's piloting around the diamonds because they were setting up... I think they were setting up the bombs.
They were setting up the nukes. Yeah, you're right.
And she tries to dodge all the diamonds, and she gets through all of them except for the last one, which damages the hull of that section.
So they have to let it rip off.
And then he decides he can't leave his notebook and, I guess, the timers for the bombs.
It was the timers for the bombs and his notes that let him, use them.
Which never come up again besides the, look at it! Look at it!
Because it had a picture of his kids in it, too. So he goes back in as the door is shutting and is basically just has enough time to get the detonator timers out and the notebook, but he doesn't get out himself. Mm-hmm. And he gets crushed. And the whole time, Eckhart's character, the male lead, is screaming to Beck, the female lead, to open the door again, because if she did that, he could get him out real quick, and they could close the door again. Which it looked like totally was plausible. Yeah, it was a totally plausible thing that could happen, but Beck, being in a different room, trying to also pilot the ship, makes the decision not to open it because he didn't want to jeopardize the mission.
Because Commander Pike earlier said you got to make the shitty call, and they had to make that leap, so
she makes the shitty call, which was a really shitty call. But the point being is Eckhart's character is fucking livid with her for good reason, and she still has, in my opinion, a good argument for not doing it, right? Like, she's like, I'm not jeopardizing the mission. I get that. However, he has his fucking... This goes back to the fucking time jump issues. He's so angry with her, and he's so pissed off, and all they do He's jumped
just
15
time,
hours,
yeah.
and he's just cool now. He's just fine.
Post-night
He's just
clarity.
he's
Sorry, I
he
just had
went
to jerk off in the ship.
he's just happy again. He's literally smiling the next time he
Yeah.
sees her, and it's like nothing fucking happened. And
I had a dream I wasn't in this lava submarine, and then I woke up, so now I'm happy.
Yeah, I was so
Shark Boy and Lava Submarine.
Shark Boy and Lava Submarine, that's the sequel.
Yeah, I was livid when I saw it. 'Cause I was like, you can't just time jump that away.
No.
He's just
Like-
magically not angry at her anymore for his close friend and colleague getting crushed to death, and her just letting that happen. He's
Like I
just
said,
cool.
Post-nut clarity, man.
Hey, what happens...
That was post bullshit,
Hold up.
is what that was.
What happens in the mantle stays in the mantle, okay?
Of the earth.
Of the earth.
That's where his body forever is now.
What happens in the mantle
Well, I mean,
stays.
crushed to
You're right.
micrometers or whatever.
No, I mean
Micrometers.
it was just the whole
No, it literally
like basically
disappears.
train car was
Yeah, it's
was
basically it.
crushed. So yeah, I mean, at least I think his death was the stupidest. At least like visually speaking. His
Oh yeah,
death
because it's
was
just
the
like him
dumbest.
just kind of being slowly crushed by a bunch of very fake,
Right.
debris.
Right, but that's where the CGI budget could have gone. We didn't hear any crunch noises or anything. We just see him on a monitor go, "Ugh."
We had a really bad quality monitor. Just, stay with me, Sage. It's gonna be okay.
I'm dead.
and that's it. Right?
I
At
also
least, like,
hated his character's 1A. I guess it's just like he tells Eckhart yeah, you get out of here. You guys can do it. And then just open the window. Okay, never mind. I was just goofing. I'm scared.
I don't know. I feel like
wouldn't you?
I'm gonna be
Wouldn't
honest.
you?
I feel like I would be like that. Like for the split second, I'd be like, I'll be the hero that has to sacrifice myself.
And now you have to die.
And then I'd start getting squished and go, "This is a bad idea. This is a bad idea.
It's
No,
not
help me
true.
out. Help me out. Help me out."
It's true, but if that's the case, give it, make it more severe instead of, hey, here's some cardboard debris on you.
I feel like the best death in the whole movie is Token Black character death.
I don't think so. I disagree.
Really? Why?
Because I think that and we've all talked about this. I maintain that Tucci's death is my favorite. Like if I had to pick which death of these I had to endure, I'm gonna go with Tucci with the nuclear bomb going off.
Oh, no,
I think we're just talking
5
about
feet.
entertainment value.
No.
Oh.
Well, no, I was talking about emotional impact value.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I was just saying,
Absolutely.
Not
Token
like which
character.
one I would choose.
I was just saying best
No,
death
I-
in
I-
terms of how quick
No, I would
if I
choose
had to
Pike's
deal
death.
with it, I wouldn't, because I feel
What,
like I would still be able to
Crystal
see
through
for
the
a minute.
skull?
Yeah, but it's just through the top of his head. I feel like
But
you'd
you-
still see for a minute until I fell in that lava. I feel like all of that would still be a
But
thing.
you have no idea what's going on.
Doesn't matter.
The whole time.
Doesn't
I would
matter.
much
I'd rather be
conf-
atomized in an instant. I would
No,
rather not even
he
know that
sat
I
there-
died.
He sat there for 12 minutes knowing he's dying. He's going
That's
to
fine.
die.
I'd laugh that off
I'll
for
take the
12
crystal.
minutes.
I take the
I'm
crystal.
I'm not taking the crystal. I'd rather be vaporized in
I
an
will take
instant.
that crystal meth all day.
Because you wouldn't even know you died. It would happen so fast.
No, but you know the countdown is coming.
So? That's fine. I could live with that.
JD, you know how
It's the same.
12 minutes to live.
It's
Good
that
luck.
same fear as
Sucks to
when you
fucking
wake
suck.
up.
If I had
before-
reception, I'm pulling up YouTube. I'm gonna find an 11 minute and 30-second video. I'm gonna watch that shit, and then I'm gonna laugh
I don't
for 30
know.
seconds
I feel like
and instantly die.
It's the same as when you wake up before an alarm, like 50 minutes before
Yeah.
an alarm, and you just kind of lay there, just like, oh Christ, I have to,
Except
just
you're
think about that
dying.
15 minutes.
Yo, just so both you know, that's me every single time I set an alarm.
Exactly. So
I
now
don't
imagine that
care.
with a nuclear bomb.
I'm
And
saying it
you're
doesn't
dead.
bother me because it's every time, and there's nothing. Here's my thing with that. And it's my own mindset is that there's nothing you can do about it.
So I
at
would
all.
rather it happen
So to freak out,
instantaneously.
right? I don't think it was instant though. I don't think he was dead or even close to dead
Okay,
until
so
he
you
fell
would-
into that fucking lava.
You would take 12 minutes over 12 seconds.
I
of
will take
confusion.
12 minutes of sitting there knowing I'm gonna die, then 12 seconds of potentially feeling the pain of that skull, of that crystal entering my skull, and potentially feeling the burns of falling
He
into
was
that
dead
lava.
when he hit
You're
the lava.
wrong.
I don't think he
I'm
was.
Sorry, you're just wrong.
There are
dead.
so many studies to show that a shot like that will not kill you instantly. You will feel it and it won't be great. There are so many studies to prove that that's actually how it is.
No,
I've
you
looked into
feel
it.
I have no doubt that there is pain and terror and all of that I would just
in what happened to that dude. I would rather be instantly vaporized. I would rather know that I'm gonna
12
die.
seconds of pain than 12 minutes of knowing I'm dying.
I would rather know that I'm gonna die and make peace with it and die instantly. That's all I'm saying.
This took a dark turn. We should move this a little lighter, friends.
I don't know. The movie sucks. I don't know what you want me to do with this.
Well, can we...
The most interesting part of this movie is the ways that people die in it.
Shout out to the Colorado Rockies for their cameo.
They're randomly in the movie, and it was actually the Colorado Rockies. It was the real Rockies because they had
not realize until we saw it in the credits.
Yeah.
Because there's a scene, the scene where Beck and... I would just refer to him as Captain Pike this whole time.
He's Star Trek, man.
The guy who plays Captain Pike in the new Star Wars, the new Star Trek series.
Wow, excuse me.
I'm gonna be honest. Other than the new Star Trek movies, I don't really care for Star Trek that much.
Too many lens flares.
Oh, that's just J.J. Abrams.
No, that's just J.J. Abrams. I still don't mind the movies though. I like all of those movies.
It's true. It's then I watch those movies and I'm like, I'm gonna go watch the series Star Trek, and I tried a few episodes of each different series. Like so I can't.
Much.
I get that.
I sat down with my mom so many times because she loves Voyager and Deep Space Nine. I watched quite a few episodes of those with her, and I cannot figure it out for the life of me. But I know that's her whenever I'm watching any Star Wars content. She's like, I don't understand what's going on. How can you understand? It's like, I don't know how you understand a Federation, but hey.
I agree with
here
that.
we are.
I tried to go back and watch, just last Star Trek thing.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I tried to go back because I found out that, I guess it's not really a spoiler, it's old as shit now. Into Darkness is, that's the second one, right?
Yeah.
Is just Wrath of Khan backwards, or Wrath of Khan with like twists in it.
Yeah.
Is basically what it is. So I tried to go back and watch Wrath of Khan.
What, the Khan scream doesn't give it away?
Wrath of Khan isn't good to me.
No.
In comparison. I know everybody, that's a hot take, because a lot of people love Wrath of Khan.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like Wrath of Khan. And that was my moment where I'm like, I'm just going to deal with the new ones. I'm just going to play in the world of the new ones.
I have a weird love for the new ones.
I don't think it's weird at all to love those, because I think that it's shot really well, minus the lens flares. The characters are awesome, and the stories are always
I didn't really like 3.
I liked 3. It was just weird. It just went in a different direction.
Yeah.
And I was okay with that.
For me, well, I guess I always dislike any, for me, whenever there's
it's
a space
disaster
film.
movie.
I know, well, with space films, I want them to, run around, and I guess my issue with Star Trek 3 was just more of the focus on just, one planet for the majority of it.
I could live
And then it was the same reason I really didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Like, let's just hang out on this one planet the whole time.
I think Guardians of the Galaxy 2
Ain't that cool?
was problematic for a lot of reasons.
Yes.
Like, I hold that one pretty far down the Marvel totem pole.
The best part of that movie is the Nebula Gamora character development.
I don't know. I think the last, the climax, fight scene is a lot of fun, too. But
it's
fun, but it's not good.
The Groot rubber band, or the Groot button scene that's used in so many memes.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. So I think we're gearing down at this point.
Hang on, I'm still on the Colorado Rockies.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right, we're going back.
I've been trying to get back.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, bring us back to reality here.
The scene in which Beck and Captain Pike are piloting the space shuttle down into landing. Because they're coming in from re-entry, and all the EM pulse happens, and they end up 120 miles off course, and so they're basically landing into Los Angeles.
Right.
And we get a shot of them playing baseball in Dodger Stadium, and one brief moment of Colorado Rockies, and then the space shuttle goes flying overhead. And then they crash into the LA River, which is the shittiest river in the world.
It's not a real river. It's a
ditch.
It's a gutter with a small stream going through.
There's a reason they filmed so many skateboarding videos in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's no water.
I was driving through Toluca Lake area, and there's there's a nice downtown area, and then there's a river, and then neighborhood. And I was looking, I wonder where, it's the LA River. Okay, never mind. It's not interesting. You just drive over this
fuck the LA
ditch.
River. Anyone who is in California or lives here knows the LA River's it's bullshit. And on that note, I think it's time to start winding down. and
Have we
finish this
haven't-
up. We
I
got
think
44 minutes in. I think we got enough.
I think the only thing we haven't touched, I mean, we've kind of touched it,
What do you want to touch?
is the
Other than me.
Destiny...
Yes.
The Destiny
Icon.
VFX scene.
It's all bad, dude. I think we've talked about the VFX in general,
those are just
and it just
so
looks like
bad.
it looks like shit that somebody could make on their computer in their own home. This was a $115 million budget movie, by the way, and today someone could make that shit in like a day in their own home. Almost all of the CGI, right? Like it's that bad, which is really, really bad because movies much better than this with a similar budget had come out before,
Well, and
right around
movies
the same time.
with a much smaller budget
Did better effects
did
than
way
this.
better effects than this.
Yeah. So it's just depressing. So, I mean, I think I speak for all of us when I say, unless you're watching this for free and you have nothing else to do but shit on a movie, don't watch it.
I feel like there are other movies to shit on that are more entertaining.
There are better, as far as disaster movies go, there are better disaster movies to either make fun of or actually enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've talked about them
Enough.
Yeah.
So, out of 5, I give it a 0.
Out of
not too
5,
bad.
I give it a... The first time I saw this, I said I would never watch it again, and yet here I am. So...
You brought this on yourself. You brought it up.
Yeah,
did.
you're the
Yeah.
one who said we need to watch the
Well,
core.
Yeah.
Did it work out? Did we make a podcast episode about it?
We did.
Yeah.
It
Do
was
I
a-
regret my life
Alright.
decisions?
All
Yes.
right. I feel like this is becoming a running segment, so I'm going to say it. Would you rather watch Holidate or the core?
Holiday.
Yes, I actually agree, Holiday, because I could sink my teeth into that, like a tiger.
This-
like,
the
oh,
core-
I hate this so much, and I can.
The core
I
just
will
makes me depressed.
Yeah.
I'm going to say what I said last episode. I'd rather just go to bed. I don't like either of
Well,
these movies.
it is currently 11:54.
There's
and
a
we have to get
nuclear-
you to the airport, so
It's
I agree with you.
10:54, but whatever.
Oh, this...
Yeah.
Yeah, that
This-
thing's off by an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still on Colorado time, I guess.
Right? But
Wow.
this has been episode 8 of
think.
Jabbermouths.
God, we have 8 of these?
We're
Yeah.
getting close to them double digits, baby. This has been
Yeah.
episode 8. Next week, we continue our sci-fi double feature with Black Hole.
Oh, Black Hole on Disney Plus. Hope you're ready for a Disney horror movie from the 1960s. It's real.
It's a real thing that exists, and we hope to God it will be better than this week's movie. I have been your shipmaster who died via crystal accident, JD.
I'm the one who fell in love and lived, Barrett.
And I've been your token Jewish character, Ethan.
Mazel tov.
Shalom.
Mazel tov.
We'll see you guys next week.
Merry... Oh, no, wait. The holiday was the
Happy
Merry
Hanukkah.
Christmas.
I'm
No,
cutting that
Hanukkah's
out.
over.
Cutting that out too.
No, don't.
Right, I already said see you guys next
can't
week, and there's
cut
the
out
end of the.
the
I can
Jewish
cut all
people
of
and
this
their
out.
faith,
I can cut.
JD.
You can keep doing
Are
this.
you anti-Semitic?
No.